Hello, everyone. Welcome to Small Talk. Well, I'm very pleased to welcome my guest today. I believe she's in Mission, and her name is Pamela Herar. Welcome back to the show. Sorry, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I think you're confusing me with my husband.
I think so, yeah. Not that you look alike or anything.
No, that's okay. It happens.
Oh. Now, you were the editor and co-publisher, content coordinator at Neighbours on the Fraser magazine. What is BVM?
Best Version Media, yes, and Mission City Living as well.
Oh, okay. So tell me about
Mhm.
how that came about.
Um, how did that come about?
Yeah, how did you get that?
I responded to an ad for a content coordinator spring of 2023, and I've always had an interest in writing and journalism. I was an English honors student in university and school. So it was something that was of an interest to me. And I found myself in 2020 when COVID hit. I was in the travel agency. So we were actually all laid off, obviously, at that time. And that carried on for quite a while after. And I made the decision not to return to travel. Then I just took a little bit of time off, helped my husband out with his municipal campaign, and just spent time with family, helping my mom out now. And I responded to this ad in the spring, and absolutely loved the content coordinating portion of the magazine. And then the opportunity came for us to look into starting up our own, which I did, but we didn't roll it out right away. And then the opportunity just came around that the position for publisher opened up with Mission City Living. That's the publication I was content coordinating for. And Ken and I made a decision to act as the co-publishers. We've been doing that since the October 24 was our first edition.
So what kind of content do you have?
It is just community content, strictly related to Mission City.
Hmm.
And it's a really upbeat, fun family style magazine. And the content changes monthly. We always have a feature family on the front cover,
Oh, cool.
and it's great to know the others in your community.
Yeah, for sure. And Mission is a very unique place, isn't it?
It is. It's a great community.
Yeah, very well. Very good. And I was looking at your Facebook profile, right? So,
Okay.
so yeah, sorry, I'm a little lightheaded today. I went and got some uh, COVID and vaccine.
It's the time of year with the weather change. Everybody's a little off this week with the
Yeah.
time change looming this weekend. I know.
I wish they would
It's
do
a
away with that. I wish they would stop that, really.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. When I was an elementary school student, I always looked forward and counted the days. But as an adult, it certainly messes you up a little more with your whole body clock. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you were former volunteer member at City of Mission Heritage Committee.
Yes, we were. Unfortunately, that without any warning. From what I understand, it was a decision of the mayor, although that hasn't been spoken about openly. It was told it was a council decision, but I don't believe that it was at all from information I've heard and feedback. I'm not too sure what the decision was to dissolve that committee.
Mm-hmm.
We attended a meeting, and before the next, we were completely um, shocked that we received an email stating that it was being decommissioned. And we're actually, the volunteers that were involved were very, everybody was there for their own reasons, but it was to make sure that the heritage homes, neighborhoods, items in Mission as a whole were recognized and documented, if not, possibly preserving some.
Right.
But it's been quite disappointing for all of us. We're trying to figure out how we can move forward. Um, and we're just concerned about our heritage value list is missing. That had a catalog of over 200 homes, most below 7th Avenue,
Okay.
where the majority of development is happening. So yeah, we're sad that it was decommissioned, but we're hopeful to start something different. Maybe even coming forward and asking that it be reinstated. We're just trying to get a few people together to see what path we'd be
Right.
looking at in the future.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's so unfortunate. It at least would be nice had you been told why, right?
Well, there's speculation, and I can't really openly speak about that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um, it was disappointing, and I mean, to a degree, insulting. And there's been a few things that have happened with other members that have tried to join a different historical society. Thought she was just paying a membership fee of $25 and then got a letter back stating that her application was declined. Didn't know, she thought it was no different than basically taking out like a Science World membership. So there's a lot of confusion around that and a lot of closed doors, and as she quoted, stonewalling.
Mm.
So we're not too sure what's happening there, and people really need to start asking questions.
Yeah.
It seems that a lot of the committees and mission right now, some have been decommissioned as well. I know the traffic transit committee was decommissioned, and that was an important one here, especially with all of the development on the horizon. And people need to start asking questions as to why these things are suddenly happening
Right.
since the last election, and who is driving this. I think that would be a good question. Why,
Yeah.
just start asking questions, getting involved, and then I feel change will happen.
Right.
If not, it's just going to keep continuing on.
Right. It's your community, right? It's where you live, and you have every right. I mean, you and everybody, wherever you live, you
Mhm.
have a right to have some say in what's going on or get questions, ask your questions and get answers, right?
Yeah, we're a longtime family here. My family arrived, my father's family came in 1946, my mother's in 48. My dad contributed, and my mother, they had a construction engineering company, building division as well. They contributed a lot to Mission over the years, and another friend who was on the Heritage Committee as well. It went from a commission to a committee. There was a name change before it was dissolved.
Mm.
That's why I refer to it as both. Um, but I know her family too. They contributed so much to the community, building a lot of the schools, the bell tower at the Westminster Abbey. And there's a running kind of banter between us. There's Hillcrest Avenue in Mission off of Wren Road. What my family didn't build, hers did. And we're not looking to preserve our contributions from our family. We're just, really wanting heritage to be
Yeah.
recognized, as it is an important part of every community.
Right.
Basically what they've done, and I believe you're in the Chilliwack area, what they've done downtown, it looks amazing now.
Yeah. Right.
And we need to recognize the importance of something that's a draw for the community
Right. I
and
yes.
tourism.
Yeah, right. I kind of think we're in the same situation in a way that, we have lots of condos going up here, right? And, there's a worry about traffic and where's everybody, the roads are getting ridiculously crowded with vehicles all the time. I don't know if Mission has that same type of problem,
We're starting to now, and it is not like Mission to have these issues.
right?
Mission is on a hillside, a mountainside,
Yeah.
and there's only a few main arteries that get you up top. And, especially at rush hour times around 3 in the afternoon, we're seeing the connector backed up. The bypass to Murray Street is just so backed up with traffic. And Missionites aren't used to having to deal with these types of things. And unfortunately, there isn't really a way around it
Yeah,
because there's nowhere else to go.
right. Yeah, absolutely.
So, these things need to be addressed. And I mean, I'm all for housing. I mean, if
Mhm.
we obviously need affordable housing, but with the development that's happening, I know there's a project um, recently that came up at City Hall, and it was declined because, the community and the area, the neighborhoods, especially the heritage areas, we're not wanting these great big buildings, slammed in and disrupting aged neighborhoods, because it takes away from the integrity of the neighborhood
Right.
and the character. I know on the Heritage Committee, we had, possibly spoke about not just preserving heritage homes, but why don't we try to preserve at least one heritage block? But the
Mhm.
way that things are going, I don't know that that's happening at all. And we also, we have to look at the traffic.
Yeah.
They come forward with a traffic study, but what's that telling us? It's not very accurate, I find either. And then again with the traffic, you have the parking issues as well.
Hmm.
And it puts a lot of stress and strain on the neighborhoods.
Right. I was just
Yeah.
thinking, one of the things like here we have, I think it's 5 or 6 stories at the limit of how high a building can go. Do you have that same issue?
I don't know a lot about that because I don't really dabble too much in the city business per
Okay.
se.
Right.
I do take an interest in the heritage matters.
Yeah.
But I do know that we're getting some mid-rise towers along that corridor below 7th or 2nd Avenue specifically.
Hmm.
And we are seeing there was a tower built next to, it's actually the same age as me, Welton Towers on the corner of 2nd and Welton and Mission. It was built in 73. They did put a new tower there. It was supposed to be a BC housing, but there was a big schmozzle over getting it certified, something to do with using gas instead of another type of energy. I
Right.
don't know a whole lot. I've just heard little bits here and there. Um, and I did notice when you're up top now, around the 4th Avenue, 5th Avenue, where Central Elementary School is, you can now see that building in the view line, where before it was just a clear view of the valley.
Right.
So we're going to see more and more of that coming up now, and I don't believe that's going to sit well with the folks in those neighborhoods that have had
Yeah.
these view lots.
It's really
There's
tough situation, isn't it? Uh, like if they built higher than 5 or 6 stories, then they would instead of using up more land all the time, get rid of the, community, single home areas and all that stuff, build higher, and yet then you have that problem of the view was you lose your view, right?
for
It's,
sure.
it's really
For
crazy.
sure. And I do have a friend that lives in the Fifth and Alder neighborhood. Um and she's always had out her kitchen window since she was a child. Her grandparents built the home in the 40s. All her life there's been this beautiful view of Mount Baker, and that's now been disrupted.
Right.
And it's very sad.
It is sad. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
And what do we do? I don't know the solution to that. Anyway, moving on because, I don't want to get
Oh,
everybody.
I know we get lost in it. If I get going on heritage, I can go all day. So we'll just we'll get away from that for now.
Yeah, I would just, yeah, again, looking at your profile, you studied ESL bilingual education at Oxford's International School. And you
Hmm.
also, you also were in the university in New York. My God, I'm having trouble speaking.
Oh yeah, that was an online university. I did take a course through there, but I did attend University of Alberta and University of the Fraser Valley about 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get back to you now, that magazine again. Tell me what the BVM stands for again.
Best version media.
Best version?
Media,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right. So now, who else is involved in it? How many people are involved in it? Is it just you and your husband or?
Yeah, so we're like a subcontractor of the magazine.
Oh,
And then Best Version Media does our publishing. They're a great company to work with, very accommodating. And there's actually 1,400 neighborhood magazines across North America.
hmm.
And we actually are the largest private digital media company in Canada,
Wow.
which a lot of people don't know. So we are a small neighborhood magazine, but we are tied
Okay.
um, to a larger company.
Right. And how many times does it come out? Is it monthly?
It is monthly, so it keeps me pretty busy.
Yeah, I would imagine. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so just looking else, what else have you have here? It's really kind of fascinating. What was it like when you were working for the airlines? Were you a flight attendant or you were just, it says, wait a minute, studied?
I actually, so I took the travel training from a wonderful college. And the term isn't, there's not a lot of colleges, more so universities now. But so 1993, when I was 20 years old, I attended Canadian Tourism College in
Okay,
Guildford, in Surrey, located in the Guildford area.
right.
And it was a very intense program back in the days before the internet had really taken over. So
Hmm.
we were learning out of something that was like the size of a Sears catalog. It would have all the airline scheduling in there. We actually learned at that time how to handwrite a ticket, which when I came into the travel agency, we didn't do a whole lot of that. It was more so going online and digital at that point.
Right.
Um, and I took that training as well, and then they had about three different computer systems we learned at that time. And the flight attendant training I took in Richmond, I don't believe that college is there any longer. It's been 30 years this year. Um, I didn't actually work in flight attending, even though I did take the training.
Mm-hmm.
I did take the training and intended to, but again, at that time, in those days, you basically started out on call with the larger airlines, and I would have had to basically be right in Vancouver and close. So it never really worked out for me. And
Right.
then as things went on, I just more so stayed in the travel consultant side of travel.
Oh, okay, very
Mhm.
good. Yeah, that's really good. Now let's get again. We're going to touch on the Heritage Committee. Are you looking for more people to get involved? And if so, how would they get a hold of you? What would the best way to do that?
So we do have a small Facebook group in Mission called Heritage Central Neighborhood, and it basically covers below 7th Avenue from about Heritage Park over to Cedar. Um, and that is the development hotspot right now. A lot of, developers want to come in there, take out a demolition permit, um, tear the older homes down, and then put in their brand new. We're seeing a lot of duplexes coming up.
Mm,
Um, and I know the neighborhood is, as we've discussed, they're not very pleased with this for the most.
right.
So I think that, you can get in touch with myself or Charlotte Lightburn. She's the other admin on the group. You can certainly find us, reach out to us on Facebook by private message. And, we would love for more people to become involved, um, and basically protect their neighborhood as best as they can. And what's the term my father used to say? Squeaky wheel gets the grease. So
Yeah.
I think the more vocal you are, the more action you're going to see. And people, if you don't like what's happening, get involved and start speaking up and start coming to the council meetings and giving your opinion. At the end, they have a question period. If there's something on the agenda that you don't like, get out and speak about it. And that's how we will see change.
That's the only way I think, yeah, people need to get involved. And I don't know what holds people back a lot of the time, but
Well, and it could be too, some people are afraid to speak out because they don't want to be marked per se as being maybe trouble causing or bringing attention to themselves. But that's
Mhm.
why, others get away with things is you need to speak up and let your voice be heard.
Right. Good.
If you don't like the direction that we're heading, then you need to say something and get
Good point.
involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. Well, we'll end it there. Just stay on camera. To the audience, you've been listening to Pamela Herar